Hi there, I'm Captain Tyler Capella and welcome to the Waterman's Way channel. Thank you for joining. So today we're going to talk about how to do it yourself, build a boat windshield from scratch. Now I have a beautiful 25-foot Contender Bay boat, absolutely love the thing, but when I put a tower on it, the stock windshield from the factory no longer fit. So I went months without a windshield, which in the warmer months isn't so bad, but with El Nino and all this crappy cold weather we've been having, it's become a real issue. So I asked the guy to build a custom windshield for me. He wanted $3,500, which I thought was a ridiculous amount of money for a piece of glass to keep the wind out of my face. So instead of going that route, I went out there, figured it out, I did it myself, and I saved myself over $3,000. And I gotta tell you, it looks absolutely amazing and I couldn't be happier. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly what you need and then step by step how to build a custom windshield for your boat. So let's jump into it. Custom boat windshield, baby, coming right up. So anybody that's been on my boat before probably noticed that I did not have a windshield. So I'm going to attempt to make one myself. I bought plexiglass and a heat gun and jigsaw and all that kind of stuff. Got a few items from Santa as well. And we're gonna see if I can't fabricate a windshield to put on this bad boy. I'll show you, I got all the measurements here. So to make a template, just take a piece of building paper, unwrap it and just kind of do a rough cut and start taping it down on your console. That will kind of show you how the windshield is going to be shaped, and you can take a heat gun later and shape that plexiglass, but start taping it down and then trace out exactly where you want your windshield to be. Untape it, cut it out perfectly, and then you're good to go. I'm gonna have a nice little enclosed cockpit and should be riding out in comfort and style and quit getting pelted by cold rain, which I'm getting very sick of. So wish me luck. First attempt. We'll see what happens, fingers crossed. Stay tuned. All right, here is the perfectly cut piece of paper on top of the plexiglass. You can see I've removed the protective cover on the plexiglass. I'm gonna clamp that thing down to the table so it doesn't slide around underneath it with one of these, or actually a couple of these. And I just inserted the plexiglass jigsaw blade into my new jigsaw that Santa brought me, and we're gonna see if we can't cut this thing. They say go on medium speed, so I'm gonna set it to medium and start cutting. Here we go. So before you cut the plexiglass, make sure both sides of it are supported by a table with a space in the middle to cut, because if only one side is supported, this will happen. You can see on the first attempt, I think I had the drill set too low and I didn't have any support on the right side of it, so I've stuck this table under it now, turned up the heat on this thing so it goes faster and it's cutting it like butter. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. I don't have too many more tries on this side. I've got that whole side of plexiglass, but we'll see what happens here. Let's go. All right, that one cut it like butter. I almost screwed up right here when I was taking it out, but I think I can salvage that cut. And yeah, fingers crossed. It's dicey. All right, so it's turned out really well. It looks a little sloppy, but the glass is cut perfectly. So in hindsight, I probably would have just traced the template onto the plexiglass, because I was using a squirt bottle to cool the plexiglass down so it didn't melt when I cut it, and it kind of messed the paper template up a little bit. So it worked out, but I think tracing it would be better if I had to do it again. But of course, I'm almost done. I have that far to go after all this, and the drill died. So I have to put a new battery in, but I got one right here, thank God. Otherwise I'd have lost my mind. All right, so here is the final cut of the piece of plexiglass for my new windshield. You can see the chickens have decided to help me out here, but I anticipated that. That's why I cover it with paper. But I am off to the boat now, and we'll see how this goes. Thanks, chickens. All right, so you can see I am now in the boat. The windshield made it successfully during the transfer. There's no cracks or scratches or anything. I had a bunch of towels under it. So here she is. I'm gonna pop her up on the console here in a minute. So one thing I didn't mention was you have to file this edge all the way around to get rid of that sharp edge on there, which I didn't go out and buy a router or a belt sander. Decided to make it hard on myself and use a file. So I hand filed this thing all the way around, but it's nice and smooth now, kind of rounded off these corners, and so nobody cuts themselves. But she's ready to go. I'm just gonna pop her up on the console and start applying some heat with the heat gun and see if I can mold it around the piping up there. And of course, it's the coldest day of the year, which is not gonna make this process any easier, but we're gonna give it a rip because I'm sick of that cold air hitting me in the face every day. So fingers crossed, baby. Let's go. Man, I'll tell you what, this thing looks a lot better with the windshield. You can see I've got it clamped down here, clamped down there. I'm gonna have to heat these up and fold that around the side, but it's going well. She's up here, she's safe, secured. I just gotta heat this glass enough to start kind of making it pliable. That's gonna be a hard 90 degree right there, so I'm gonna have to really use some heat, but woo, it's looking good. All right, here we go. So you can see I'm applying some heat with the heat gun. There's a bit of a bend right here. It's not a straight edge, so I'm having to bend it around that. So on this day that I did it, it was about 50 degrees and windy. So as soon as I'd heat one piece of the plexiglass up and go to another side of it, it would cool that part down. So if you did it on a nice hot day, this would probably take you less than an hour to do for sure. And I was able to bend it enough to apply those clamps right there. And now I'm just gonna slowly use this thing and start shaping it. I heard it takes an extraordinarily long time with a heat gun. You don't wanna use it with a torch because you risk burning it, so you gotta do it really slow with one of these things. But I'm gonna have to do a 90-degree turn right there, and then I'm gonna secure it with screws and windshield fasteners into the fiberglass of this little platform, and then it'll be done. So as long as I don't break it in the process or do something stupid, which is a definite possibility, we will have a windshield on the boat. See what happens. I'll see you in a bit. This is gonna take a while. All right, check it out. You can see it's really starting to take shape here. So what I'm doing is taking these little ratchets and put it on there and slowly use the heat gun, just heat the whole thing up, and then kind of slowly ratchet it closer and closer until it's connected. Shaping it, and then, but look at this. Oh my God. So I'm gonna be standing behind this thing now instead of getting full blown. You can see I was just taking it from the wind. It was awful. And then I'm gonna bend these flaps around and cover that section as well in case we get any spray. And it is going to be a game changer, man. I cannot wait to get this thing done. It's gonna work. Look, wasn't sure, but I think it's gonna work. All right, so I've been just crushing it with the heat gun for the last 4 hours or so, but it's working. So it just takes a long time, but check it out. Look at this little bend right here. I have got 3/4 of a windshield going. Look at the cut, turned out really nice. So it's gonna kind of encapsulate like this area here, keep it safe from spray. I can also stick stuff under here now because that's all enclosed, and the windshield is like super duper clean and shaped nicely. And man, it takes a long time to heat that plexiglass up, but it is well worth it, and I'd say it's pretty damn good for my first attempt. I just have to fold this one over tomorrow and she'll be done. And I'm gonna attach some screws, or the fittings anyway, there, and maybe one more or two more there. But she is really solid. It's a lot more stable than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, that thing, and it's not even screwed in yet, so, success. Didn't break it. Just gotta bend one more and she is solid, man. It's going well. So I came back later on a much warmer day, and it took about half as much time to bend that final panel over, so check it out. All right, for those of you wondering if I finished the windshield or not, I had to wait a couple days, so I was busy, but there's the final bend right there. Super clean. There's the front and the side, and she is ready to go. Now the last thing that I need to do is drill some holes into the windshield. You can see I've already done it over here. Got these little things from TH Marine. Drilled some pilot holes, popping these in. There we go. So I'm gonna put 4 on the front and see if I can get away with this one on the side. I'll see if there's any vibration or anything. You can always take them off if you need to, and you just kind of you're gonna have to drill a hole through the windshield itself, pop this thing through, and then it goes in there just like this, and twists, and then she's on. I just gotta screw that thing in. The windshield will sit right there. There's a couple washers you put in there, and that'll be that. If I can not crack that windshield right there when I screw a hole in it to get that thing through, then I will be good to go. Fingers crossed. All right, as you can see, I drilled the pilot holes there. These are all attached with screws. Just gotta attach this one, and then it is time to drill the plexiglass, the moment of truth. Get a little tighter. Here we go. So I didn't show this next part because I was so nervous about cracking the plexiglass in the final stage. I didn't want to mess it up while holding the camera or whatever, but I used this drill bit to drill a hole in the plexiglass. Figured it would be the best one. You could probably just use a regular circular one, but it's just big enough for that fitting to fit through, squeeze through, and then tighten so it attaches the windshield fastener to the windshield itself. But again, I was real nervous about cracking it, but the way I avoided it was you take a little bit of heat from the heat gun before you drill and apply it to that area. That will make it much less likely to crack before you drill that hole. But make sure it's lined up exactly perfect with the opening of the fastener, and then drill a hole, stick the fastener in, and you are good to go. All right, Happy New Year, everybody. So decided to not get too wild last night so I could be productive today. I'm thinking about this windshield. I haven't worked on it in a couple days, but ended up finishing it off today. I finished the second little bend right there. I just spent the morning retrofitting these little windshield fasteners, which worked out great. All I need to do is clean it up, maybe add a little weather stripping on the bottom there, but she's done. And I mean, you can see there is like 0 vibration in this thing anywhere. I'm just letting that side cool, but I mean, there's no vibration in this thing at all. I got this place enclosed down here as well. I'm gonna put some C-deck on there so I can put phones and whatever. I'm gonna go full speed with this thing and see if she passes the test, and if she does, then mission success. I think she's gonna do great though, so here we go, I'll let you know. So my boat does over 60 miles an hour, and I really wanted to test this thing out, making sure it wasn't vibrating. I decided to go and hit this boat wake pretty hard to give it a test. And I'll tell you, it passed with flying colors. The thing is really locked on there solid. I was worried about it vibrating in the wind. It doesn't vibrate at all, and I could not be happier with the finished product. All right, there you have it. The boat windshield is totally done, and I could not be happier. It really turned out great, better than I could have expected, especially for the first attempt. If I can do it on the first try, you use my techniques that I learned and kind of taught myself, and I bet you can too. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I've got a lot of great fishing content on here as well to go check out, some more DIY stuff. So thank you so much for watching the Waterman's Way channel, and we will catch you on the next one.